Hello and welcome to Osquery Office Hours, March 25th, 2025. Thanks y'all for being here. And we've got a pretty light agenda, but we can start with, anyone have any announcements or highlights to add? All right. And PRs. So I've been merging some PRs recently, or right before I hopped on this meeting, I saw that the people had finished the feedback that I'd left on PRs, and I went ahead and merged some of those. I will point out, especially since you're here, Charvel, there's some new interesting endpoint security PRs. Not sure if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. I also replied to, I think, the person in Slack. They were asking, like, what's kind of the best way forward. I kind of gave them, like, we would want this to be broken up. So I'll kind of start taking a look at it this week and try to. It was a very big PR, so I asked them to
Yes.
And it
Massive.
was piggybacking on the endpoint clients that we have our process and files. And we would want to create a new endpoint client for other events so that if we reach a state where there's a lot of events, those two can still keep running.
Got it. Okay, so we needed to create new clients.
Yeah.
So I wonder, they did put up a new PR. I wonder if they did that?
Not particularly. I'm kind of still running through it.
Okay.
I'll have to take a look and figure it out, but essentially
that's good. I'm glad you're getting your eyes on that, because that's something that I hadn't thought of. So I can do some review on this, but I know that you are the true expert.
And we also had this discussion back when we were adding the FIM file events, like ES file events, whether we would want a new client or not. And I think the whole consensus was we want to create a new client for a new table, so that if like process events kind of gets overloaded or file event gets overloaded, the kernel doesn't kill our client.
Okay.
But yeah, my goal is to at least try and get a review going and kind of break it down this week.
Okay, awesome.
This is still a huge PR, but yeah, smaller than the original one.
Yeah, it is still quite big for sure. I think I saw a lot of the lines are look relatively easy to review.
Yeah.
There's lots of event type equals, and there's a lot of test and stuff. But it is a large number of lines.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and I can do some review as well, but again, like I said, it seems like you definitely know it better, so we'll get better quality review from you.
The only kind of concern I have off the bat is some of the events are only available on like the latest and the previous macOS versions, and we try to support older ones, so we'll have to do like availability checking, like, hey, if you're running macOS this, then only support this event. If you're running, so there are some new event types that are only available on the latest. But
there will be an issue where we try to subscribe to those on older versions, and that will cause errors.
or like the symbols won't exist on the older ones, so it might
the symbols
crash.
Won't exist. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a way to kind of weak link it and kind of tell the compiler like, hey, ignore this. Trust me what I'm doing, kind of a thing.
Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. I noted those things in the
Thank you.
agenda doc here. Other PRs that y'all want to mention? I guess I want to mention some. I've got some Windows stuff that I'm working on. It's been sitting unreviewed. I can get it reviewed by someone at Fleet, potentially, if folks aren't keen to look at Windows. Right now there's a DNS lookup events table that I've added, and I'm about to PR a Yara events support for Windows, which piggybacks off of the NTFS journal events. Is that something that anyone here wants to take a look at reviewing? Should I try and get a Fleet person to review? I'd still need like a final approval from someone who has committed.
Yeah, the problem is mostly time.
Okay. Okay, so I think
yeah.
I'll ask for some review from folks within Fleet, and then I'll come back for hey, can someone kind of give it a skim and final approval? All right.
I was briefly scanning right now. Simple things that are jumping to my eye. I think we should be making sure that we are using the Unicode variant of the Microsoft API. I think I see like a convert string seed to seed A. This is the ANSI version.
Oh yeah, good point.
And yeah, I also look up account seed A.
Got it. Okay, I'm noting that. Thank you. I think I may have copied some of this code from. Oh yeah.
I think you corrected then.
This is refactored from some of the existing ETW code, but it definitely makes sense to fix it.
Yeah, and I also recall that you have actually fixed an issue with a similar use of ANSI code, ANSI APIs that should have been Unicode somewhere else. So yeah, there may be still some places in the Windows code where it is incorrectly using the ANSI API. So yeah, if you copy from there.
Okay, good point. I will address those and then get someone from Fleet to review. Thanks. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to check in on a couple of dependency related PRs. So one is, sorry, my GitHub is just not loading. Oh, yes. One is 8533 boost 1.87 compatibility. I'm a little confused about this, and I'm a little confused about what the person said. So they said the changes are not backwards compatible with boost 1.86. As far as I could tell, the changes actually should be or are compatible. But I noticed that like they made the code changes. It seems to pass in CI, but then if we're still using 1.86 and they say that it's not backwards compatible, why does it work? And also just like, should we be going to boost 1.87?
I'm not sure what they mean. To be fair, for instance, that hostname verification change is something that actually I did too when working for the OpenSSL integration. So, and it's still using the boost that Osquery provides. So that seems to work correctly. I don't know, maybe they got confused on which version it has been completely removed, maybe. Or well,
Does it
yeah.
does it seem fine to you to merge this? Like, do you have any concerns with merging this? To me, it seems probably fine to merge. But then I also think like if they're making it compatible with 1.87, like maybe we might as well also just upgrade to 1.87 as well.
So yeah, that part is the more complicated part because is the usual issue. So Boost is a big library and we are hard coding the default system, so we have to go through all the changes they have done. It's not just updating the submodule and attempting to build. So I would be wary in that case of updating the library and deciding that if it builds, it is working as expected, basically.
Okay.
So it definitely would be nice for various reasons to update, but yeah, just be aware that there is some work involved.
Okay. So I think that maybe we can merge this since it does appear to be backwards compatible. It does, from my research, it does align with the like their changes that they made seem to align with the documentation in Boost that I referenced them there. So like, do folks feel good about merging this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Well, then I'll give it an approval and merge it. And then there was the other dependency related PR that I wanted to take a look at was bumping libexpat from 260 to 270. It looks like the person just sort of just bumped it.
Yeah, that's always the tricky thing, which like I don't have an answer on did they do everything it should, because they should, because it depends. Like the process again is taking the oldest Linux machine, cloning the original project, running the updated version you want to target, running the system of the updated version you want to target, getting all the generated files and see what are the differences between those generated files and the ones that Osquery has. Also checking, even before that, checking if there are any new options, etc., etc., etc. And all of this is invisible. It is true that often, if there are new options, this means they touch defines that eventually, if they are not defined in the configuration that Osquery has, cause a compilation error. Meaning, given that the PR doesn't modify any of the generated configurations files, one could assume, and it builds, one could assume that it's working. But on the contrary, it may also happen that a certain feature functionality or something internal that doesn't cause a compilation error is being changed. It's maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer. It's maybe a bit picky. It's just that I don't trust, and it's not always like certain changes of behavior should, for a good library, should cause a compilation error, but not all behavior changes do.
Sure.
So the question is, are you sure that just because it compiles, everything is working? But yeah, anyway.
That makes sense. And 2875817. Okay. And I see, so I guess the alternative is we probably need to look at these two CVEs and decide whether we were impacted by them.
Yeah, I mean, we can also ask what were the step they took, if they, well, let's not suggest, because, well, anyway, if they have checked the difference between, because I mean, there's a lot of trust basically you have to put on.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot. They did not introduce any additional custom code there, so that's fine. But still, knowing that all the steps have been followed, that's the trust part. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think on both of these, I'll ask the users if they did, like, what kind of testing they did. Can do that for the Boost 1871 as well, although that one doesn't actually update the dependency, it just updates the code, which we already agreed was fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay. Anyone else have other PRs that you'd like to discuss?
Zach, is your Windows PR the 8553, and are there multiple PRs? I just wanted a link to the GitHub so that I can come
Yes,
back to it and take a
8553.
look.
My other one is not up yet. No.
Got it.
Yeah, but it will be soon. Hopefully today. Thank you for doing that, Charvel. Okay. So moving on to agenda, I just added Osquery 5.17 release. Question mark. I'd love to. There's a lot of new stuff going in here that I think folks will want to see shipped. Certainly, we have customers waiting for the Windows stuff that I'm working. I'd love to see that get shipped. I know that Micah just did I just merged Micah's run packs at startups, which I assume Collab will want to see shipped. I think it's been about 6 weeks since the last release. So what do folks think about doing a release in the next week or two?
Nothing against it.
Same, nothing against it. There's a lot of stuff merged. We should try and push for release if it's been 6 weeks. Which, yeah, it has.
Cool.
Oh, interesting. I was just checking the milestone. I think we have stopped using milestone. Okay, on the GitHub side, we have a 5.15 open, but it's empty.
Yeah, I personally
Yeah.
haven't done anything with milestones for quite a while. Is it something that you're like, or anyone's keen to start using again?
No, I was, yeah, I think I was thinking out loud in the sense that are we on 5.16 or 17? And I was checking the milestone I was curious to see if there were issues, any specific issues related to the version, so that we had that open. I guess I just closed the 5.15. Yeah. That's it.
All right. Shall we look at the issues tagged security?
I think that util Linux is on a binary, which we definitely not use. So this is 8574.
Wall.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I can.
And I think XML external entity parser create. I have a feeling we don't use that.
Which one? Sorry.
So, for the libexpat, there's the 2024 28757.
I think this is one that's in theory solved by that PR we talked about.
Right, but I guess we had some hesitation with merging that PR, and so I'm wondering if we can say actually we're not affected by it, which I think we're not, because it says it allows an XML entity expansion attack when there is isolated use of external parsers created via XML external entity parser create, and I'm not finding external entity parser create in the Osquery code base.
Yeah, I think expat is only used with again with dbus and systemd communication. So the usual logic, our usual logic is, I mean, you first have to go through, like, find an issue in dbus or systemd, and even then, like, you are communicating, or Osquery is communicating with an implementation that's from the system. But yeah.
Oh, so you're saying you don't think we use libexpat directly?
Well, yeah, it's somewhat indirectly. We still build it because it's a dependency required, but by what we want to use dbus, which we use for querying system units, systemd units, or
Okay.
basically startup items on Linux.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, and so the only thing we are parsing are, again, it's not Osquery parsing, it's dbus internally parsing its own protocol.
Okay. Okay, so hard to say whether
Yeah, dbus. Yeah.
dbus is using that.
Well, you would, I mean, I have to move on a Linux machine, but let me see. You can do a grep there when you have everything checked out.
Right.
Yeah, dbus. Let's see. This is, I'll propose the name.
I mean, I guess the other thing would be like if there's really just these couple of places where it's used, then it might be easier to just test the 170 upgrade. Or maybe not easier, but it might be easy enough to just test the 170 upgrade.
Yeah, double checking. Yeah, it does not seem to, I don't see any reference from the bus. I mean, I do see, well, no, this is expat. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't see any other reference if not expat itself.
Okay, so expat is just used in dbus. Dbus is just used in the system D stuff.
Yep.
I guess I see it like, yeah. Okay, so maybe what I would do, maybe I'll just do some testing on the system D related tables and startup items on Linux, and then potentially just approve and merge their PR.
Okay.
Stefano, are you gonna put in the PR to ignore the wall command, or would you like me to?
No, I can do that.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm just making some notes about what we discussed on these. Okay, I've updated the agenda around these things that we discussed. Anything else that anyone wants to discuss while we're here?
No.
All right. Well, thanks y'all for turning up. That was, even though we didn't have an agenda, I feel like we got through a lot of good stuff. So appreciate everyone. Yeah, we've decided we'll try to get the new release out. I think it'd be awesome if we could get the new endpoint security table into that. So Charvel, if there's some like high level comments you can drop in right now for that person, they seem to be pretty responsive. So that would be sweet if you could just drop those high level ones in now, and you and I could both take a deeper look, and we'll work to get the rest of this stuff that we want to see merged. So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you.
Thanks. See you.
Bye.